Hi, this is Danielle Morrill. I'm the Senior Director of Inbound Marketing, our Q2 check-in on priority countries work. During this call, we're going to go over the spreadsheet and identify where we're at with the P0 countries. And then we're also going to chat a bit about changes that happened during the quarter to the team and needing a new DRI so that we can set context for getting some resources and structure around this in Q3. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Also, if you're in this meeting right now and you're like, I don't have context, I don't have answers to the questions, it's okay, because we did lose a lot of team members here. So we're going to figure out where the gaps are. One request is, I know we don't have an agenda doc. Could someone scribe any to-dos or decisions that come out of this that we can, so can I just have someone volunteer so I know who to follow up with? Jeff, can I call on you to do it? Okay, thank you. Great. So I think the first thing I want to try to do in this spreadsheet is sometimes a little tricky. Is I want to only focus on the P0 countries today. And so what we're trying to get to is this full market investment where all the P0 boxes are checked. We kind of wanted to get there by the end of Q2. I don't know that that will happen, but let's just go through the list and look at the gaps.
Hey, Danielle, this is Leslie. Quick question before we do that. A few months ago, I had asked Dara the question, like, should we just hide China or get rid of China? So for purposes of this conversation, how should we treat China?
I'm gonna hide it. I actually, yeah, it's not in scope for us.
Okay.
I can't hide it, but it's hidden in my mind.
Okay.
Cool. Yes, that's a really good call out. And for anybody watching, the reason we're doing this is we have a fully owned entity in China and they do their own thing and we don't work with them on those things. And that's the way we've chosen to run the business. So that is intentional, not an accident. Cool. All right. Let's go to the first unchecked set of boxes. A local currency buying option. I don't know, Jake or Leslie, do you, or does anyone here have context on this one for Hong?
I don't have any context. I don't think this has been, we haven't had a meeting about this in 6 months, I think. So that might be why it's off the radar.
Okay. Do you think you could, I don't know, do you have an agenda or a place where you could bring this up?
I do.
Awesome. That would be amazing.
Hey, Jake, for local currency support, we don't support it internally because our Salesforce doesn't do it and our billing doesn't do it. But most importantly, there needs to be a partner in market who can take orders in local currency. If that's true, then we are, that would be an acceptable outcome to be able to check the boxes here. And I have a feeling we're doing better than this shows. But I'm not sure.
I mean, there's a local partner in all those markets. There's multiple local partners in all those markets. But okay, I will. That is helpful context, Craig.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. I also missed a little checkbox up here for row 12, local language 24/5 preferred region support. Looks like French is not checked yet. Does anyone have an update on, or is Tom on this call? I don't think Tom is here.
Yeah, let's follow up with Tom on that from a support perspective.
I'll ping him and make sure that that's captured. All right, PR in country. Hey, Michael, do you know if we're in Canada? I'll follow up with Natasha. She's not on this call, but I will find out. That's a funny box to not have checked. It's like pretty easy to do PR in Canada.
I see a lot of ads on Instagram, so if that helps.
Oh, you seeing them, huh? That's great.
Oh yeah, because I go to the site a lot, so I'm getting remarketed to, and I'm like, it's not me.
Okay, great. All right, I've got an item here for local language web pages. This is in orange, which is interesting. I don't know what that means. It's color coding. So if anyone knows how the color coding part works, I would be super.
That looks like, my interpretation of that is because it's calling out having multiple pages rather than just the landing page. Maybe that's the MVC2 of just the single landing page.
Okay.
If you look at the README, it says, and it's not really all that clear. It's a P1.
Oh, there's priority.
So,
Nice.
But I would agree with Michael's assessment, like as much as
not just the page.
So Michael, I think the action item we might have at this point is just to start to block out the work, because we do in H2 want to start on this. I mean, I think we need to be realistic about this versus other priorities, but my hunch is we don't have issues for these top 10 pages. And we also wrote this 2 quarters ago. So we also might want different pages now with what we've learned. So can you take an action just for you and I to just have a planning discussion?
Yep.
Cool. That would be really helpful. And then these local language, this is what we were talking about. So this is the step in the right direction, just the first page. I think we can check most of these boxes. I've been working to follow up with Bree and just make sure that these are launched. I think a few of them are still in spreadsheet form and are waiting on final execution. Michael, you had Brandon working on this before he left, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think Japan and Germany are launched.
Does anyone have edit access? Actually, part of why I'm not checking these boxes is I
Oh,
don't
yeah, right.
have access to the doc.
Let me see.
So just so everyone on this call has some context, we figured out a pretty great, like, streamlined, repeatable process for these single pages. So I think there's going to be a decision we need to make about whether we want to go further with single pages on the P1 countries first, or if we want to focus on the top 10 pages for the P0 countries. So that's probably like a key trade-off decision we'll need to make. I don't know if anyone has it, Craig or anyone else has advice on kind of where to focus there, but that's a decision that's coming.
I don't know if by default Jeff has edit access because it looks like Bree was the last one to make a change. I don't have edit access.
I will, I'll drop
Yeah.
a note and ask for it. She still has access through the end of this week. Cool. Local language customer references case study. It looks like the last one we're waiting on is Japan. Does anyone have an update on behalf of Colin and his team? I feel like, am I crazy or is Colin not here anymore?
It's Tracy now.
Tracy.
Colin's not here. Yeah.
Great. Can't edit this, but I'll follow. I'll make sure Harsh knows this project exists. It occurs to me that maybe he doesn't. Cool. Smartline looks like we're good. Path Factory, we're good. Leslie, looks like these are good.
Back to the doc, I do not have edit access, so I don't have it. I can't give it to anybody. So just so we all know that.
Thanks, Jeff. Jeff, could you drop a DM to Bree and ask her to give it to you?
Yeah.
She still has Slack till the end of this week.
Yep.
Thank you. Leslie, can you just, for the sake of just context, what is this row about, number 24? What, like when you say field marketing support, can you just tell me a little more, like if this was broken down into a checklist, like what is field marketing support? Like what are the key pillars that you'd be looking for?
I don't know the context of why that was added or what that is supposed to mean. So,
Okay.
No. But in terms of field marketing support, is a field marketer there in that region and do they have budget allocated?
Oh, but maybe that's what this means. I don't know what this means. Anyway, feel free to rewrite it. We'll get you access so you can rewrite it.
And the other step that might make sense sort of on that note is to make sure to maybe sit down with the sales leaders in those markets and make sure that this list is reflective of what they think they need in terms of support to make those markets successful. Because I think this may feel a little bit like from the ivory tower. So we just want to make sure that the specific sales leaders agree that these are the 5 or 10 or 20 things that when they have, they can make that market successful.
That would be great. I mean, I think that we would want to maybe even break this down into more detail. This is a P2, so it's not like we have to do it right now, but I feel like as we're planning the second half of the year, it would be a good idea to just anything where it's not clear, we should probably write issues and clarify. Well, I think, Jake, maybe you and I could take an action. I'm not really sure how to ask that question of sales. Like what would be the communication channel for that?
It would be a meeting with the specific leaders and in which I think we'd have to go down the list and ask them the question of what do they need from marketing to make this market successful?
Okay.
And is that reflected here?
So that's our
Yeah.
next step.
Yeah, I can set that up.
Thank you. Cool. Looks like we're good on in-market SDR support. SDR language support. This is highlighted as a P1. Does anyone know if we've started on SDR language support? Okay, I'll follow up with Evan. You don't happen to know, do you, Leslie? No,
No.
cool. No in-market investment. I don't know what this row means either. All right, does anyone know? Okay, we'll come back to that. Digital and brand in market. Okay, so it looks like maybe the only place we're not doing digital is Japan. Anyone know?
We are doing digital in Japan.
Yay, great. Okay, that's another box that can be checked. Domains. Okay, we need to find an owner for this. Body is not here.
Evan has that, and there's an issue where we're tracking all of that.
Great. I think the most important thing I'm going to add when I can edit this thing is a column for issues. And then we can get an issue for each one. It'll make life a lot better. Okay, we'll skip the other org thing. I don't know what that is. Legal ops. Looks like we're good. Local language documentation. Does anyone know if we've got German or French documentation? This looks like an issue. Let's open this up. Okay, this doesn't look like it's been updated. All right, I'll follow up and find out where we're at with that and get this updated. I have a call with Susan Tacker to talk about other cool stuff, so that's good. I don't really understand what, oh, okay, because we already have English language for these priorities. Cool, I think that takes us through the list. Obviously, I have a bunch of items to update, but I think the takeaways for me are, what are we doing about top 10 pages for P0 countries? And how do sales leaders feel we're doing as far as meeting their needs? Seem like the big takeaways. Any other major takeaways anyone's noticing or want to call out concerns you have?
Yeah, so the very last one, I forget what row it is, if you can scroll down. I think there's two elements to localization from a legal perspective, right? There's the contracting piece, which similar to what Craig had voiced as far as a billing, right? So if we go into France and we sell through a reseller, our terms with the French reseller are going to be, you know, either England and Wales law or US governing law. We're not going to directly agree to French governing law for a few different reasons, right? And so number one, that should be the mindset going forward, right? When we work with these folks, and we have some large French customers, and governing law is always an issue, so we have to find mutual venue and governing law. The second one though is some of these countries do have requirements that we have to work on with product and privacy. So France, for example, has a myriad of requirements where if you pivot to a direct marketing model to French citizens, you then have to carry out X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And some of those things would be best assisted by Lindsay Sawyers, and I'll drop their names in here, and Dan Rhodes. I just don't want there to be a like conflated that, well, legal ops is good, meaning localization from a product and privacy perspective is good. No, right? Like that doesn't track all in the same, and that can be for a bunch of different things, right? So if you're looking at Germany, for example, or France again as an example, if you're marketing to them directly and then their information is coming in, do we know where their data is being stored? Are we actually processing their data and bringing it to the United States? So if we're using a third-party tool, pick a tool, Marketo, is it coming into the US? Then we have to carry out other steps. So I think we need to make sure that's happening.
So I think this comes to a good, those are all really important points, Robert, and I'm so happy that you're here, because I think when we scoped this initially, it was more focused on like marketing and sales enablement, as you can kind of see from the tasks. But I think as we've been working on this, these things have come up more and more. So all excellent call outs. We really need to identify a new DRI to kind of own cross-functional work here, because the big thing is not just your concerns, Robert, but I think there may be other requirements gathering that needs to happen. Just, I think we kind of missed that step a little for the broader company. We started out just like, you know, our little marketing sales world. Product hasn't really been consulted either, as far as I know. So you're totally on the right track. I definitely want to acknowledge, like, we're gonna miss Bree. We lost some other team members who are on this call. Is there anyone on this call who is interested in being the DRI for this project? And it's okay if ever no one says anything, but I just would like to know before I go track someone down. Does anyone want this, high visibility, high responsibility role? Cool. Sorry, was that you?
So I'm planning on, I am hiring someone who I would like to take on added responsibility and potentially be the DRI here. I'm not sure if someone has to program manage this, right? And I think that can sort of sit anywhere. I'm happy to contribute, but I need a little bit more time to actually get the right folks in place. It has been on my radar, but I haven't quite gotten to the place I needed to get to.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. And we also in marketing are working on hiring a cross-functional program manager who could potentially, fill that seat as well. So maybe when we get closer and each of us has those folks in place, we can discuss who's the best fit. I think in the interim, I think our goals should be to just close out our commitments for P0 countries, because those are the promises that we made to sales from marketing. And then we can kind of go back to the requirements gathering. And Robert, I think what you brought up just raises the sense that like the scope here is a lot bigger now, and we need to have like a little bit of a reset. And the last thing is we are going to move towards putting the major work items into issues so that the conversation and the context gets tracked and the working processes that are happening to fulfill these items are linked. So hopefully this video recording kind of captures the state of our world right now with localization. And we have some action items. Is there any other concerns anyone wants to raise or action items they'd like to suggest or request?
Not necessarily a concern, but just some learning since we've picked Smartline. It is a great tool. And I think one of the things that makes it really effective is if you have a nice contained site that it can crawl and do its own automation to. We don't have that. We have a very large experience that kind of goes in different directions here or there. So I think an opportunity going forward is kind of like we could draw a line around like what do we consider the business driving element of the site and properly configure Smartline, because right now we're having to do a lot of manual engineering work. It's super low level, but like copy pasting kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, you read their site and what they can do, and then in practice we're like, oh, we're not orchestrated to maximize this tool.
It's a great call out. Is that documented already? Sorry.
I just want to say I'm +1 on that. Smartline is not fully optimized at the minute, and it could be. I just think we have to. I don't know anything on the engineering side, so I won't comment on that. But yeah, we need to figure that out.
It's a great call out. We have one last order of business, which is we don't have a recurring meeting set up anymore. And I'd like to get that going, get the right people in there. I think the people who've been in the priority countries meeting are a great start. And then it's been called out, Dan Rhodes should be here. Possibly, do you want Lindsay Sayers invited as optional, Robert?
I think Dan's good.
I'll cover it.
Yeah, he's the lead. He reports to Lindsay, and so he'll be the lead on this and can assist.
So I'll just call out, I think, Jake, I think David Hong, probably this is not a great time for him. Is it fine that you're mostly just kind of representing for him and he's optional, or is there someone else that you think I should also pull in from his team?
No, I think I can represent.
Got it. Okay, awesome. And then, cool. Well, then what I'll do is I'm going to bring back the Monday every 2 weeks check-in with the same list of people and kind of get us set back up again for that, just so that we're synced. But I think the next conversation should probably be framed as like, let's make sure P0 countries are wrapped and then move back into the kind of exploratory phase and kind of refresh this project plan as we get a new DRI is kind of where this looks like it's going. Everyone okay with that as the agenda? Great. I'll set up the meeting. I'll prep the next agenda and I'll make sure the right people are invited. So this was. Thanks
for getting this going, Danielle. I think this is it seems like progress has been made, so that's a good thing. But I think we can definitely button it up, and we have and I think this will lay a good groundwork for how we approach it next fiscal year, which I think is even maybe more important. So thanks for getting us going on this.
Yeah, thanks. Bree's not here, but if she watches this video, thanks to Bree and everybody who behind the scenes has been getting these things closed out. It was like a lot of nitty gritty detail work, but I think it's really coming together. So awesome job, everyone.
Hey, Jake, question for you. We're getting close to planning again, and I know there's going to be a moment where people say, have we sized the markets to reevaluate our P0, P1 list? I do not believe, I've asked I asked Harsh to come up with a proposal of how we do that. But is there anything else on your side that you're planning to do around that?
I was planning on collaborating with Harsh.
Good.
I have
Good
not.
answer. I'll follow up with this group on that. I wanted to see if we could get something going now, so that when we get into, you know, September, October timeframe, we'll have some sort of data set to inform, because I think our P0 list is good. The question is really the P1 versus P, like that's where, or do we want to promote any P1 to P0? Like that's really the question we want to answer. So cool. All right, thanks.
Great. I think we have our marching orders. Thanks, everyone. Bye.